Well, hey, everybody. Getting ready to record episode 196 of Mike in the Midwest for this week. Let's do it. All right. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to episode number 196 of Mike in the Midwest, our mini podcast for the amazing patrons just like you of the Be Our Guest podcast. Of course, my name is Mike Rallman, host of the Be Our Guest podcast, which you can find me on the social media at Be Our Guest Mike, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and of course, you can find me each and every day over in our clubhouse, which is our Discord channel. You can find it at beourguestpodcast.com/Discord, which we'll be talking about here in just a bit. But we're having a great time with that. But it would be even better if you joined us, if you have not joined us quite yet. But most of you have. And I'm so glad to have you over there. But we'll talk about how 2024 as we're recording this show. Kind of get in the habit here of doing these on Sunday afternoons as I have a little bit of time here, and it kind of makes the week go a little bit better as I don't have to kind of squeeze this in with all my work during the work week, and hope it finds you better because maybe you can load this up onto your phone and have it ready for when you need it, maybe later in the work week during your commute on Monday. Of course, you get the Trip Report show for your Monday morning commute, which I hope you always enjoy. Now, let me tell you about tomorrow's show. I'm going to give you a little preview of episode. What is that? It's going to be 2474 because you're a patron. You guys are the lucky ones, right? I'm going to tell you about this show, and I'm going to be a little biased here. You're going to get one of the best Trip Report shows we have ever had coming up on tomorrow's show. I didn't know what was going to happen with this show. I'll be honest. So we're going to talk to a guy named Simon on tomorrow's show, and he's over in the UK. And so you guys probably all know this. I record the Monday shows the Wednesday before. So we recorded this show last Wednesday to air tomorrow. So they get recorded about 5 days in advance. And because that's the only night, we record so many shows, right? We record the Wednesday and Friday shows. We record those on Mondays. You guys know that. You tune in lives. We record those with the panel. And then on Wednesday nights, I record the Trip Report shows, the Monday shows. So we had this thing planned for months and months in advance. If you ask me to come on the show, I never turn anybody away, but you got to wait, right? Because I give you the next available slot, but we have so many people that ask to come on the show that the calendar fills up very quickly. Like right now it's April and our next slot to record is in actually it would be December, the very first week of December at this point, if you asked, just because I don't turn anybody away. So you just get the next Wednesday because I can only record on Wednesdays. Mondays are taken, Tuesdays are taken with family stuff, Wednesdays, Trip Reports, Thursday, and I try to keep Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays off. So anyhow, I knew Simon was over in the UK, and I knew I hadn't talked to him for months and months and months since we put this on the book. So I didn't know if this show was going to happen, to be honest. And I knew that Scott had just gotten back from his trip to Coronado Springs. So I knew in the back of my mind that if Simon bailed on me, which I knew he could have, right? Because the only time I could do this one was at our normal times. I couldn't squeeze this one in during the day because of work obligations. It was a busy work week, which I wish I could have, because I mean, think about it. In the UK, I record these at 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. This was like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning in the UK. Simon, though, said, no problem. I'll stay up late. I got my Coke Zeros. I really want to come on the show. I was like, how about that? That is dedication. So I told Scott, dude, we're good. I'm going to record with Simon. So here's the good news. Scott's coming on today, I think, with us on the call-in show tonight. So we'll have the call-in show. And Scott and I are doing the shows all week. So Scott and I are doing listener questions on Wednesday. And then on Friday, we're talking all about Scott's trip this past couple of weeks ago, a spring break trip to Coronado, all the good stuff he did. So it's Mike and Scott this coming week. So we have those shows. But anyway, back to Simon for tomorrow's drive. It's going to be the longest Trip Report show we've had in years. I think the show came in at an hour and 23 minutes. And I apologize for that because I'm not really a fan of long shows. I like to keep the shows at about 45 minutes. I'd like to keep this show to 20 minutes if I could. And I always go to about 30. I always blow past it. I shouldn't because I like short, tight podcasts. I think podcasts should be short and tight. But here's the thing. Simon and I got talking and he had so many great stories, and they were all stories about what Walt Disney World vacations should be and are to us as Disney fans. And he comes from such a far distance from all the way over in Europe to have these vacations. And he has kids, Sully and Sid. And he tells the stories of his kids and these seminal moments that they're having on his vacation. And I basically just let him be a storyteller. And I don't know if it was just me. I mean, again, everybody takes these trip reports and makes them what they are. This may not be the best ever show for you, but I'll tell you what, I enjoyed the heck out of Simon as a guest. I really, truly did. And I hope that you do too tomorrow. So again, let me know on the social media if you could give it some love on Twitter or Instagram where other people can find it. If you could retweet it or, just mention that you like the show. If you did like the show so other people can find it, that would be awesome. But also let's talk about it on the Discord if you like it, or if you just give me some feedback. Simon has joined the clubhouse. He's over there now. So it's one of those things that I just really enjoyed, and I enjoy all the trip reports. I've said this many times. The trip reports are so much fun for me because that particular guest gets to share that trip that was super special to them. That was their trip. Like I get to sit in on the one every week. Every week I get to hear about somebody's particular trip. But for that particular guest, that was their one special trip. And you're going to get to hear it tomorrow. And I mean, Simon, for one thing, Simon's an entertainer. He entertains on cruise ships, he told me. So we didn't even get to get into that. I wanted to at the end of the show, but we had gone so long and it was like 3:30 in the morning for him. So I was like, we can't do this. But he knows how to tell stories, but the stories he told were so good that I think you're going to really enjoy tomorrow's show. So let me know what you think. I think you're in for a huge treat with Simon. And I'm just excited, really excited for the show to come out late tonight, at about what they come out like at 8:00 Eastern. Sorry, 9:00 Eastern, 8:00 Central. I think you're going to get a kick out of it for your Monday commute. So let me know. I really want to hear what you think about this one. Anyway, we'll have the live call-in show tonight as well. So join us at 7:00 Eastern so that we can talk Disney. We got all kinds of stuff we can talk about, but we'll let you bring those topics to the table tonight. So that's kind of what's going on around here. Around here, not a whole lot. This has been kind of a a dull week. I mean, it's that time of the year. It's springtime. Not a whole lot going on. We're counting down to our cruise in July. I'm in that time, and I see that Dennis over in the clubhouse is kind of in that same state of mind where we're really excited about our summer cruises, but you can't pack. We're 70 some odd days until our cruise. I've exhausted watching all these videos and stuff like that on YouTube because I walk a lot on the treadmill and it's great to see just walkthroughs of the Disney fantasy. And I mean, I've seen videos of Satellite Falls. I've seen videos of O'Gills. I've seen videos of the Tube. I've seen videos of Skyline Lounge. I've seen it all. I'm so excited just to get on the ship, the Deck 4 running track. Yeah, I can't wait. I've never been to St. Thomas, but it's one of those things. I think that's what makes your vacation what it is, right? 7 days is going to go so quickly on the ship because we've all been there, and I've done these vacations for decades, the vacation itself goes so fast that I'm enjoying the buildup. The 75 days that I have until my cruise, this is part of the experience right now, is the anticipation of the cruise. While it's like it's painful, like waiting to get to go on vacation right now, it's part of the fun. Watching the videos, kind of thinking about, you know, like I told Pam, she was out shopping with Mallory yesterday, and I said, "Okay, you guys are going to be at Dick's Sporting Goods." Mallory was getting something. I'm like, Could you find me a couple of pair of, like, shorts to wear on vacation?" Then I'm thinking, am I going to get me a new pair of, sneakers for vacation? Because I don't know about you guys, but like, I don't buy myself new clothes very often, but sometimes I will get some new sneakers or something for vacation, vacation clothes. And so as we get closer to the trip, that's part of the excitement of it too, getting some vacation clothes, getting some, things about, technology. Like, yet last night, I got suckered in. I was right before bed. I always eat, a little snack or something. Well, on Friday and Saturday nights, we always get ice cream at Dairy Queen. And I pull out my iPad and I read Apple News. We get the whole Apple bundle because I have to pay a fortune anyway every month, because we get the whole Apple big bundle so that everybody in the family can back up all their devices. Pam, Paige, myself, we get the bundle. So we get the Apple Music and the Apple News and all that stuff. So I always read the Apple News every night. And I love all the magazines and stuff, but one of the articles in Apple News was about this cruise influencer or whatever. That's the top 18 things that she always takes on every cruise, right? She goes on these cruises. And all it is just a list of things that if you buy it, obviously they have an Amazon affiliate link associated with everything. So she probably makes like 30 cents on every click. But one of these things was a little flat kind of power strip. It doesn't really look like a power strip, but it was like $8 on Amazon. So of course I bought it because, like you're going to need this. I'm going to be in a room with my wife, Paige, and Mallory, and myself. We're all going to have devices. So yes, you do need more outlets in a stateroom. And it doesn't look like a normal power strip. It's like a flat thing that just kind of sticks right into the normal outlet. So it is super useful. So it's that kind of stuff, like thinking about, okay, when we're in the stateroom, how are we going to organize it? I've heard of people using the shoe hanger thing to organize things in the closet. We'll probably get one of those. I don't know if that stuff kind of gets you excited in the anticipation for your trip, but like that's where we are, because we can't pack yet. I've been watching the videos as much as I can, but I mean, it's 75 days. You can't watch them constantly. That'll get you, I'm periodically watching videos, but I can't wait. July 6th is when we go. Once school gets out for the girls, that's when I think I'll really start to get excited. I think I'll start to get really excited once once school gets out. So still got a couple of months for that. So that's kind of where we stand right now. Shout out to Vero Mike here in the chat. Says he's leaving Epcot from the 10 miler. Shout out to everybody who ran this weekend, the 5, the 10, and the 10 miler. That's awesome. I wish I could have been down there. Spent kind of all my money on Disneyland and Dopey, so I had to be responsible. You got to pay for cheerleading somehow, so I just decided those were my 2 races. Dad got to have his fun in January, so I saved my money on Princess and Springtime, and didn't have to pay for airfare, didn't have to pay for race registration for these 2 races, and it all kind of balanced out this year. So shout out to everybody who did that. I was really proud watching that. All right, so let's hit the feedback. We didn't get a lot of feedback. Well, actually, we did. We got a lot of feedback on the mobile phones from last week's show. I talked about my first few phones. I talked about my pager that I had, my Motorola pager, and then my bag phone that I had, and then my Nokia brick phone or candy bar phone that I had. And I think I talked about one more, but we talked about it over in the clubhouse, over on the Discord, because you could post pictures over there. So that was a ton of fun. So if you haven't done that, come over to the clubhouse again, brguspodcast.com/discord. But Trisha always leaves feedback. Trisha from over in Wisconsin, who is always in the Discord doing our trivia contest every day, which this past week we played Family Feud. Now that was something I did pretty good at, except I had no idea what Handy Manny's hammer was called. I just assumed he was the hammer, but I didn't want to sound stupid, so I didn't put that. But I remember Mallory used to watch that occasionally, and I know that one time we went to Hollywood and Vine, and Handy Manny himself, the man, was there because I got a picture of Mallory with Handy Manny and Doc McStuffins, I think it was, but I wasn't sure what his gig was, so I didn't put him in there. Didn't Sometimes I don't put answers, and a lot of times I read the Discord when I'm on the treadmill, and when I'm on the treadmill, I'm reading it on my iPad, and I don't know how to make those 2 bars on my iPad, like the spoiler bars. I don't know how to do that on my iPad, so I can't answer when I'm doing it on my iPad. So I got to wait till I go to a computer. I know how to do it on my computer anyway because I'm old. Anyway, so Trisha says, oh, and last week we were talking about the Masters and how Tiger Woods, his career has spanned such a long time. Like when he first won the Masters, I was a very beginning teacher and he was still playing in the Masters last week. And my teaching career is way over. And I've been working as a travel professional now for like full time now for like 8 years, like since I've left teaching. And he was still playing in the Masters. So Trisha says I was 12 when Tiger won his first Masters. I just now celebrated my 39th birthday. That's a sobering thought. I've definitely noticed that my aches and pains have grown exponentially as of late. I didn't get a cell phone until I started college, so I had some sort of Nokia phone. Unlimited anything didn't exist, and I only had it for emergencies. I would use my dorm landline to call my family for check-in so I wouldn't go over my minutes. I'm so glad I don't have to sweat over minute data usage anymore. That's such a good point. Like Mallory never had to think about that. But do you remember? Here's another thing. Do you remember when text messages were like 10 cents a text? I bet you many people don't remember that, but text messages those were not unlimited. Oh my God. If you had to charge per text, my family, I would be in the poorhouse with my family, with my wife and 2 daughters. I'd be in debtor's prison I'd be serving 18 in life, like Skid Row used to say, because like just for the memes that my family sends each other, I'd be given the death penalty because I mean, back in the day, I think they were like 10 cents a text. Like when I first got a phone, and like you could send a text message. I'm telling you, the kid here, get off my lawn. But the kids don't know how good they have it because I told you last week, 9 o'clock was when like the phone got cheaper, and I'd always wait till like 9:10 just to be sure. Because if you called like at 8:59 and talk for an hour, like I think the whole phone was like on the prime time charge. So I was always careful, waited till like 9:10, and then you only got charged, I think, the taxes. But the text messages were charged per text. Oh, dude, my wife is always texting. I mean, not that it matters, right? It's included, but in my 2 daughters, I mean, that's holy smokes. I didn't even think about that. So Trisha, thanks for that feedback. All right. So if you have feedback about this show or any other show, you know where to go. Patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. And we need feedback for the show. And I am going to close the Discord for right now because it makes that beepy sound. That's the sound that I love to hear, though, because that means people are interacting in the clubhouse. And I'm so glad. We're going to talk about the clubhouse in just a minute. But hey, today's topic, I got 2 things. One, back off the Autopia out in Disneyland. First, let me just tell you what I mean by that. Okay, so in my workout room, which is just basically the storage room at our house, which is just a big mess, which my wife won't walk on our treadmill because she says it stresses her out. Because our treadmill, and you've seen the pictures, I post one every morning. It's just in our storage room where we keep everything. It's the storage room. It's got the Christmas tree. It's got all the Christmas decorations, Halloween decorations. It's where the big air conditioning heating unit is. It's where all of our stuff is. I mean, we have one unfinished corner of the basement, and that's the room where we keep all the stuff. And that's where the treadmill is. So anyway, when you're in there, so on Sundays and Tuesdays and Thursdays, I don't run, I walk for 3 hours in the morning on the treadmill. So I watch my iPad, I take my iPad in and watch and listen to podcasts, but I obviously have 3 hours to kind of just look around in the storage room and just look at things. One of the things I have is a listener sent me It's a license plate from Disneyland, and it says Gurr 55, and it's autographed by Bob Gurr, and it's got park icons on it. And one of the park icons on it is a car from the Autopia. So this morning, as I was looking at it, thinking, what am I going to talk about on Mike in the Midwest? And I saw the car from the Autopia, and I got to thinking about the news story this past week about how the Autopia car is going to go electric. And I thought that's interesting. That's pretty cool. And then I thought, everybody's going to agree, and we've talked about this for years. Like, yes, the cars on the Autopia and obviously at the Speedway at the Magic Kingdom, why are they not electric, right? It should be like kind of a advertisement for like Tesla or something, because it's Tomorrowland, and in the future, cars are probably going to be electric, in 50 years. I mean, it seems forward thinking, and Tomorrowland should be forward thinking. It all makes sense. But people come down so hard on the Autopia sometimes, and the Tomorrowland Speedway at the Magic Kingdoms. People are harsh on that attraction many times. And let me tell you, back off on those two attractions for a second. Now, I'm not calling you out for a second, but I just want to say, let's pause for a second and think about things. Think about the Autopia, because there were different versions of the Autopia back in the day. There was the midget Autopia, and there was, pardon the term, but that's what it was called back in, when it was made. And there was another Autopia, because it ended up in Marceline. I mean, those little car rides were all the rage. And we have one in Six Flags. It had like little MGBs here in St. Louis. I mean, everybody wanted to drive. But think about this. When they brought this originally in the 50s to Disneyland, think about the novelty of this. The interstate system had just really taken hold in the United States. I believe the interstate system was something that, and again, I'm not a historian like, some other people are, but I believe the interstate system started to take hold in the United States in the 1950s. Because I know it started in St. Charles, Missouri, where I lived. Like, there's a sign on our interstate. The U.S. interstate system started here and went west. And that whole idea of the ease of interstate travel by car was really taking hold as Disneyland was being built. So as you're thinking about these little dumb cars that go so slow and make so much noise and pollute, and they're loud and noisy. Yeah, they are. I mean, but we're living in 2024. I mean, it's not what it was. But in Tomorrowland in 55 or 60 or 65, this was a different experience. Yes, it was more Tomorrowland when this was originally. It should it change? I'm 100%. Yes, these should become in 2026. These electric cars, this will make way more sense. I agree. I 100% agree that they're doing the right thing with it, but it'll make more sense as an electric attraction. But it's one of those things that this attraction in Tomorrowland in the 50s and 60s, it totally made sense. I mean, it was just right there with how America was changing. I memean, America was becoming way more efficient and mobile with the interstate road system, and this was just a miniature version of that. So, I just wanted to talk about that for a second, because that was kind of like the cutting edge of transportation systems back in the day, and they were bringing a smaller version of that to Disneyland. And of course, internal combustion engines were really the only way to do it. And so they just brought that to the cars at the Autopia. And now we're in the infancy of electric vehicles. And so they're going to bring that to Disneyland. So it just kind of makes sense. It's the evolution of transportation systems. And so we're there again. And so it'll be interesting to see what that looks like in 2026. I think Honda's going to sponsor that. So it'll be kind of cool. So let's think about that. That's what you think about when you walk on the treadmill for 3 hours. Anyway, here's another thing I was thinking of as I was walking there. And I think I've mentioned this before, but let me tell you how much we live in the future, people. So I mentioned the Discord many times. And if you're not over there, I truly want you to get over there, because it is our little community where The podcast is awesome because we can kind of be together and talk, but it's more us talking and you guys listening. But the Discord is interacting all of us together 24/7. Like we can talk all the time. And the podcast comes out Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And we got the replay on Thursdays from Sunday shows. We put out more than most. Like we have our interactions more than most shows. But we have instant community connections through the Discord channel, which why we didn't do this earlier. I'm kicking myself because I'm loving our little clubhouse. I love it. And so today I was thinking about this is I'm walking on the treadmill, right? I'm just walking. So I can't do this when I'm running. I'm struggling just to run. All bets are off on my days when I run. On Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays when I'm running, I'm just struggling just to run. So I don't do anything else but just hang on and try not to fly off the back of the belt. But on my walking days, I have my treadmill there or my iPad there, my little iPad Air. And I get on and I read my news and I look at Twitter and I get on the Discord. And I was thinking about this little slab of glass that I bought a couple of years ago. We are living in the future. So let me just tell you the things I did. So one thing I do is I watch TV on this thing. And I can watch all kinds of old shows. I watch The Love Boat. I watch The Price is Right. I watch current TV. I watch baseball games on it. Like when I finish a show, I'm going to finish up my walking today. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to watch a Cardinals game. I don't know why I'll do that because the Cardinals are terrible, but I'm a glutton for punishment. So I'll watch them probably lose again today. But this morning, for example, I checked in on the Discord in real time. I saw that we had a guest join the Discord from Scotland. I believe his name was Mohawk. Somebody I didn't even know listened to our show. Joined in, started having a conversation about all kinds of Disney topics from Scotland. And I could, it was already Sunday late morning over there. It was really early here. We could have real in like real time conversations on two different continents via this piece of glass sitting on my treadmill as I'm walking. That is wild. While I'm watching real live TV on this piece of glass. At the same time, I wonder if Scott's playing golf this morning. I was wondering, because he plays golf a lot on Sunday mornings. Where maybe it's cold, maybe it's not cold in Michigan. I don't know. He's a big golfer. And sometimes I like to see, is he playing a fancy course? Because, I can tell this. So what do? I hit Find My Friends on my iPad. And I see, nope, Scott's not playing golf. It must be cold. Because I can tell he hasn't gone to a golf course this morning. I mean, think about how we're living in the future. Like if you'd have told yourself this when you were younger, and maybe again, I'm just old, but I try not to take technology for granted. Also, Mallory spent the night with a friend and I was like, well, I wonder if Mallory's still at her friend's house. Boom, hit that. Yep. She's still at her friend's house right there. I can see you right there on the street. And what else? There's just so many things you could just click and just, move around like Twitter. I found all the news of the day. And some of it totally irrelevant, memes and stupid stuff on Twitter. But I mean, I saw a couple of things that were interesting, sports scores. I found out what happened last night after I went to bed with some sports scores because I didn't stay up super late to see the ends of games. Injuries. Basically replaced what I used to do, and I was a nerd. But I used to read the box scores as a kid in the back of the sports page, and I'd see who got hurt, how many innings a pitcher would pitch. I found that kind of stuff out. So it's one of those things. And again, today's show, not earth shattering, but I wonder how many times that we do stop and think about this. Oh, one other thing I was thinking about with that iPad, and you can do this with your phone too, but I was feeding it through my iPad too at the exact same time. I was playing Apple Music into my AirPods. Okay, so back when I was younger, I had those foam headphones, right? That kind of came with your Walkman, but I never got a real Walkman when I was a kid, by the way. Not that I'm still bitter about this. My Walkman, air quotes, came from Walgreens. So it was just like a AM FM cassette player. It was never a Sony, which I think that's why I get so excited when I get an Apple thing at this point in my life, because I never got the name brand stuff. It's why my kids get to go to Disney and I go, because I went to Six Flags and I never got to go. Right. So now I think I overcompensate for it. So when I was a kid, I got a Walgreens, which is, you guys know what Walgreens is, right? It's like a drugstore kind of like Target kind of place. So I would get it still played music. It was an AM FM cassette player, but it wasn't like the cool, Walkman, but it still worked. So the foamy headphones and stuff like that from the 80s. So I'd have that. Um, but nowadays, this morning I was feeding music, Apple Music, because I told you I subscribed to the whole bundle through my AirPods Pro. And on my Apple Music, if you think about it, I think Apple Music has 100 million songs. 100 million songs to choose from. I mean, where do you start? I just go in and there's like under the listen tab, there's something that says favorites mix, and it changes every Tuesday via an algorithm of what you like. And the thing is, I share like a family account with Mallory, listens to it the most, but Mallory and I listen to the same kind of music for the most part. It's ironic, right? We like almost the exact same kind of music. So when it goes in there, the favorites list is usually rocking. I like it. So I was thinking about that this morning. Like, I mean, we're living in the future. When I was younger, you were lucky to listen to 8 songs on the side of a cassette. Then you'd have to flip it over and maybe you get another 8 songs, maybe get 16 songs, and that was it. I had, while I was walking on the treadmill, access to 100 million songs. And talk about like paralysis by analysis. I started thinking, what do I want to listen to? And for a second, I couldn't decide. Like, do I listen to like Scott made a cool like old Key West playlist? I was like, that's pretty awesome. And then I was like, God, don't listen to Hall & Oates. I was kind of in the mood for like Hall & Oates. They're one of my favorite artists. I was like, no. So then I just went to the favorite, so I didn't have to think. It's crazy though, the access we have to things nowadays, just in our house. It's unbelievable. We are living in the future, but it's so cool. But don't take it for granted, because it's just it'll blow your mind if you think too hard about it. It's just like this right now, this podcast. I'm going to publish it here in 5 minutes, and it's going to go all over the world, right to your ears in almost real time. It's an amazing thing. And then tonight, in a few hours, we're going to have video, like almost like TV was decades ago. We're going to do what a radio station did, 10 years ago. We're going to take phone calls in real time, and we're going to answer questions. We're going to share stories. We're going to share laughs. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have a talk radio show live on the air here in just a few hours. And I'm going to get the biggest kick out of it because I love doing the Sunday night shows, and I hope you have fun doing them too. So make sure you're there tonight at 7:00 Eastern. We're going to have a blast. But that's about it for today's show. So don't dog on the Autopia. It was prime time when it came out. It's still pretty cool today. It'll be better with the electric cars. It took a while to evolve, but it's getting there. 2026 will be here soon. And we are living in the future. I mean, think about the iPad, but think about the phone in your pocket. I mean, it's always on. You can talk to anybody anywhere in the world with a couple of taps on a piece of glass. I mean, are we the Jetsons? We are. Do we have who is the Rosie the robot? No, thank God, because that thing, if we did, I mean, think about your robot. We don't have one of those vacuum cleaners, but everybody that has one, I hear horror stories. So no thanks. Even though it'd be kind of fun to see one chase Riley around the house. I'd get a kick out of that. All right, I'm jumping out of here. We'll see you tonight. Guys, hope you have a better week than you deserve. And I appreciate you guys so very much. Thanks for being a patron. So until we talk again next week, you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.